Scotland's women have qualified for the World Cup for the first time in their history.
And Scotland are 2 up, would you believe?
They are the women who dared to dream.
Great ball, Erin Cuthbert, surely no!
Bringing a proud football nation together once again.
It's phenomenal. I cannot underestimate the success it is to get to a World Cup final.
These players have done it. They deserve it.
It never crossed my mind that one day I would play at a World Cup. I think it's incredible to know that that's now going to be a reality.
Wait and hope. Oh, great save. Right side was a terrific save from Leah Alexander.
The women's football team will be inspiring a whole generation of young girls.
There ends with a low effort.
This World Cup can give us real hope that we can build a women's football culture in Scotland that will resonate for decades to come.
Last September, Scotland's women qualified for the World Cup for the first time. It's more than 20 years since any Scotland side has reached the final stages. Attitudes towards women's football have changed, and the national team is now preparing for its moment of history. This is the story of how Scotland defied the odds to reach the finals in France. And these are the women who did it. For head coach Shelley Kerr, taking the team all the way is the challenge of a lifetime. She's seen huge changes in the women's game during her career.
If I wanted to play football with the boys, I had to try harder. I had to run faster, or try and run faster. I had to kick harder, and so on and so on. At that time, there was a stigma attached with girls playing football. You know, you were regarded as a tomboy, or it wasn't normal. It wasn't the normal thing to do. So every day, it was almost you were trying to prove a point.
She's a tough cookie, that's a good thing. She's someone that's come from unambiguous working class background and is not impressed with the kind of frippery of fame or the kind of the illusions of finance or whatever. I think the other thing about her is that she's a football person.
Before she became manager of Arsenal Ladies in 2013, Shelley was coaching part-time while holding down a full-time job. At Arsenal, she won the Women's FA Cup 2 years in a row before returning to Scotland, where she would make history.
I left school with no formal qualifications, went straight into the factory, and it really irritated me a bit. And I felt that one thing that eluded me was an academic background. I applied to do a sports management degree, a master's degree at Stirling Uni. I heard that they were looking for a coach, a head coach for the Lowland League team, and also they played in British universities. I thought if I could get an interview then and get, you know, all the people sitting around the table, then I felt that I would come across well enough to allow them to think that I would be able to do the job with all my experiences.
Shelley Kerr became the first woman to coach a men's football team at senior level in the UK.
Today, what will win you the game is if you're organised and disciplined defensively.
And in 2017, she took up her role as Scotland boss.
Often, if you think that they're narrow in the centre and they've got 3 higher up, the space often is in the wide area for us.
We were doing the Hearts Scottish Cup semi-final the other week there for BBC, Shelley and I was just sitting messing about and not really paying attention, but she was like so focused. You could see like she was loving it. She said, I love live games, I love analysing football.
Ollie Lee for me is getting in good positions. Haran and June need to get further up the pitch to support him, and you need a threat in the box, you need numbers in the box.
I think that's how she is. I think she's, when it comes to football, quite intense.
She's really setting a tone for the team. She's hugely passionate. She's just so she inspires everyone. So it's really great to play for a manager like that.
To get an opportunity to manage the Scottish women's national team, it's just the pinnacle. It's It's almost at times you have to pinch yourself. Of course, it's a dream come true, and you know, I think the recent success of the team, getting to go to the World Cup, you know, I'm going to embrace every single moment.
Shelley and the team's journey to France started in qualifying Group 2, where they faced matches against Switzerland, Poland, Belarus and Albania. Scotland started their journey against Belarus in Shelley's first competitive match in charge. It's a game they should have easily won. Victory would mean Scotland would take their first step towards qualification.
People see a country's name and associate it with what the scoreline should be. So that Belarus, that should be an easy victory.
It was a bolt from the blue because we'd created about 7 million chances and we hadn't taken them, and you're thinking, is this going to be one of those nights? And then they scored a kind of freakish goal.
Belarus on the counter. Kalanova with the looping effort, it's gone in! It's a dreadful start for Scotland.
We performed reasonably well at the start of the game, and then we got a goal down. And momentarily, you think, wow, how can this be happening right now? But it was only momentarily.
There's a real scramble in there. It's poked home and Scotland have the equaliser. It's Jane Ross.
I've got a talented group of players, and together we'll come up with the solutions to make sure that we get a positive result.
Making real headway. Can she find her teammates? It's come off Kozyupa. Slice of luck for Scotland, and they're in front.
As long as you get the 3 points, you've still got an entire qualification campaign in front of you, and it's really important to be away in your first game, away to a team like Belarus, and come back with 3 points.
Scotland managed to get the win in Belarus. Next up was Albania at home.
It's Cleland's header. Oh, the keeper's let it go, it's over the line. Fee Brown, that's a smashing strike. Here's Jane Ross with the tap in, and it's 3. Emsley with a curler, it's a beauty. Lisa Evans at the back post, 5-0.
Scotland thrashed Albania 5-0. But next up was one of the toughest matches Scotland would face during the campaign. Switzerland were ranked top of the qualifying group. To have a chance of qualification, Scotland needed to take points from Switzerland in this match or the return leg.
It will be Scotland to get things underway then. We are underway. Move forward as Valti, and they're in behind already. Saved by the feet of Lee Alexander, and Scotland are backing off. It's a lovely goal in the end. Well, Scotland just backed off and backed off.
That was Scotland's first loss in the World Cup qualifiers. But with only 2 goals conceded in the campaign so far, goalkeeper Lee Alexander was getting closer to her childhood dream.
I'll always remember the France '98 World Cup. That was probably the first time where I really focused on football, and I was in France on holiday, and everything about it was amazing, and watching the final and seeing how the French reacted, it was crazy. And to think that now, 21 years down the line, I'm heading to France to be part of it and be a player is surreal, but it's amazing to see, looking back in France '98, did I think I was going to be where I am now? Definitely not, but through a lot of hard work and a few breaks along the way and opportunities, it's been excellent to now say that we're heading off to a World Cup.
Lee Alexander began her career at Glasgow City and honed her skills in Scandinavia, where she played full-time.
Sweden was excellent for me. A totally different league compared to Scotland. Very much a more physical league, and I think myself, I grew a lot, both on the pitch in terms of my physicality on the pitch in the 18-yard box and demanding more of myself, but also I think culturally as well. I learned a lot about living abroad, and I think it's certainly standing me in good stead to where I am now in terms of my experiences and building towards the World Cup.
Lee Alexander played a pivotal role in changing Scotland's game against Poland. It was a difficult tie, and one Scotland couldn't afford to lose.
Poland are a really dangerous team. Poland are falsely ranked, i.e. you would probably put them in not, I think they're 3rd ranked They're not a third-ranked team, they're verging on a second-ranked team.
We had our home tie against Poland, and first half we didn't really necessarily play very well. We hadn't really created any opportunities.
The shot comes in, it's well held.
In my opinion, we hadn't played that well in the game. They'd come to make it difficult and succeeded in doing that.
Rachel Corsy's having a good game at the back there, but this player is causing a lot of problems for Scotland.
The number 9, the forward for Poland, she was exceptionally fast. And there was a couple of times that Poland got in early on that they could have actually sneaked that.
I remember, I'm pretty sure it was like a cold winter sort of evening. The pitch was getting cut up. It wasn't a fun game to play in.
It must have been about 60 minutes on the clock, and the referee gave a dubious decision, to say the least.
Scotland tried to work it away. Oh no, it's a penalty kick. I think it's been given for a handball.
It was the middle of the second half, and the penalty we conceded was really, really unfortunate.
And that is not good news for Scotland as they struggle again to try and clear the danger. Ayor is going to get the chance from the penalty spot.
Fortunately, I'd played the girl that was going to take it a few years back. I've done enough homework to know what I'm going to do, and a little bit of tactics. And she stepped up and...
Great save. Right set was a terrific save from Leah Alexander.
Fortunately, I saved it. I held on to the ball. The crowd just went crazy. It was the lift that I think we needed.
It was a really important save. It was a good save as well. Lee's been fantastic throughout all the games in the campaign.
I think we needed something. We needed a kick up the backside to show that this is a World Cup qualifier, and we need to get the 3 points regardless.
And I think that just was the moment for us whereby we needed someone to do something big that changed the momentum, and that was it.
Great save from Lee.
As the game unfolded, it was a very tight game or whatever, and Claire Emslie was having a fantastic game.
Claire Emslie firing just off target.
And she was torturing the Polish defender. Great kind of control of the ball, a kind of visionary player that knew where to hit crosses into and whatever. Towards the end of the game, the Polish woman, who was actually their most experienced defender, she gets so tortured, she gets sent off.
And it's a red, it's a second yellow for Dudek. But here comes Scotland down the right-hand side. It's Emslie into the penalty area, trying to get the cross across goal, and it's turned into the net! Scotland are in front!
Claire scores a goal.
Coming towards the penalty area now on the right-hand side, in on her left foot. Claire Emslie with a low effort! 2-0 Scotland! And it's Claire Emslie who's made sure of the victory for Scotland!
Erin scored the last.
Here she goes still, Lisa Evans on the goal line, cuts it back. Can't quite find a teammate, but Erin Cuthbert's managed to win possession, gets the shot away! It's 3-0 Scotland, and it's Erin Cuthbert!
Another win for Scotland, with 4 matches still to play.
I think it's actually the best single performance I've ever seen of a woman playing in a Scottish representative team.
Claire Emslie didn't play professional football until 2017, when she realised her full-time dream at Manchester City.
Before I signed for City, I obviously relied a lot on my mum and dad to get me to training and, you know, to really help me live out my dream, because, you know, I really didn't get money for it at all. And yeah, they helped me out a lot. It's great now for them to see where I am. I remember before I signed for City, and we got an offer, and, you know, I told my mum and dad, and they were like, wow, like, you've done it, you can become a professional.
So on comes Claire Emslie to replace Caroline Weir.
My big brother as well, he's always inspired me to, like, keep working hard. And yeah, my wee sister, she doesn't really know anything about football, but she likes coming along for the half-time pies. But yeah, no, my family have always supported me, and I definitely couldn't do it without them.
And Steph Houghton lifts the FA Cup.
Manchester City, who've probably been at the forefront of kind of transforming attitudes to women's football at club level. What they have done underneath the kind of the headlines is they've started to kind of offer women's football the same levels of informed support, the same access to sports scientists, to dietitians, to sports psychologists, all of those things that are now, a reflection on the professionalisation of the game.
Manchester City teammate Jen Beattie has seen her game improve thanks to the evolution of women's football.
Being a professional footballer just allows you to completely give absolutely everything to your football. I think if anyone has ambition and a strive to do what they do to the best, I think being professional just gives you that platform where you can focus your full attention to the small details, and it just allows that extra bit of rest and recovery. And being at the club I'm at now definitely allows that. I mean, you have the best gym facilities, the best pitches you could ask for, meals provided, all that stuff, so all your mental strength just goes on being the best footballer and being the best person. At the time, what Man City were doing was kind of unheard of, being at that professional environment, playing at the Academy Stadium with that equality, the same city, same passion type thing that we have going on with the men's team.
Smile.
I remember as a kid being at the World Cup at the '98 France, last time Scotland were there, and it wasn't necessarily a dream for me because it didn't exist for female players to be at tournaments and to be playing amongst the best players in the world. So to be actually doing that now is such an incredible feeling. So to be able to implement those dreams into young kids now, to think that they can go and achieve their goals and have those kind of dreams is such an amazing feeling.
You're watching the footy, wishing you had your shoes. You just got your sandals. Can't play with the sandals, you see.
From start to now, I'd say my career has taken so many different changes, from still being at school and playing with Celtic and training in the night time to then getting, I'd say, my first break, aged 18. Got removed down to Arsenal, and at the end of that I got offered my first full-time role out in Montpellier. I was grateful for the opportunity to go and play in France, but it was by far the hardest thing I've ever done, and I was so far out of my comfort zone, but I think I needed to do that to then come back and re-establish myself in this league and at such an incredible club, and yeah, very glad that I did so.
When Manchester City recently won the FA Cup in front of just over 43,000 fans at Wembley, another Scot played a vital role in the game. Playmaker Caroline Weir.
You get treated very well at Man City. You feel like an equal, and to come to work every day here is a real privilege, and it's a great club to be a part of. I think growing up, I loved to play football, and people always asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I always said footballer, and I think people were like, is that even a thing? Like, can women play football? And I didn't even bat an eyelid. I just thought that's what I wanted to be, and I think it's something I've always wanted to do, and to do it now, it literally is a dream come true, and I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am, as much as, yeah, it does take work, hard work, but yeah, and to obviously be going to a World Cup, it doesn't get much bigger, and growing up, those were the tournaments I used to love watching in the summer, and yeah, it literally is a dream, and I can't wait for it, and it's very exciting times. I think I've been really lucky. I've had loads of support from my family. I think growing up, my parents were hugely supportive. My dad would take me to all my games across the country, and my mum was very supportive. She just let me get on with it, if you like, and I think it's great. They come to as many games as possible.
For me, Caroline Weir, she was one of the stars of the qualifying group. Technically so gifted.
My family were hugely proud. They've seen Scotland, not qualify for things before when I've been in the squad a few years ago, so they know how hard we've worked to get to this point. It's not happened overnight, and there's been a few difficult campaigns that we have gone through, and yeah, to see us be successful and get through this campaign, it's huge for us, and of course all our families are very proud of us, I think.
Do you know, the word professional is used, and when people talk about the word professional, they attach remuneration to it, they attach finance to it. It's not. Professional is taking a professional approach to it and everything that you do. And our home-based players who have to juggle work, sometimes part-time work, sometimes full-time work, or sometimes part-time or full-time education. They're still training and acting as a professional athlete.
Having qualified for a World Cup for the first time in their history, the team were awarded funding by the Scottish Government.
What it does is provide funding to allow the players in the squad who are not full-time to train full-time this year from January right up until the World Cup.
6 members of the Scotland squad benefited from the funding. One of those players is Joe Love, who made the decision not to become professional.
I'm one of the older players, so to be able to have the rest and recovery that I need to be able to play 100% at training and during games, I think that's going to be really beneficial to me this year. Not having to go to work through the day is going to be a major helping point in trying to push me forward and getting me fit and keeping me at that level for the rest of the year, hopefully.
It's a small contribution to help the squad really prepare as well as they possibly can.
With over 190 caps to her name, Jo Love is a Scotland stalwart.
I started playing in this squad when I was 15, so that's been more than half my life. I've spent dedicating the time in this squad and not just in this squad, just playing football to the highest level that I possibly can. I'll go to the gym in the morning, then I have to go to work, and then I've got training at night. So basically out the house all day, and it's a lot of dedication. But for me, it's 100% been worth it, and to see the strides that we've taken as a squad, hopefully it's a bit of a legacy that we can leave. I do think that I'm probably past the stage of being a full-time professional footballer. I've had opportunities in the past to go to Sweden, to go to England, to actually play, but I'm a bit of a home bird, so I've chose to stay at home, and whether that was the right decision or not, I'll never know, but I've had a great time in football, and football's been good to me, so I don't regret any decision that I've ever made. I was actually speaking to my mum earlier because we were looking for some old photos of me when I was younger, like kicking a ball and just having one in my hand, and she said to me, "We never took many pictures of you with a football because we didn't actually think you'd be a footballer." So to me that just shows how far that the game's actually come, and for it to be a real possibility now for girls to play football professionally, it's great, and long may it continue.
Scotland is going to the World Cup, and it's been many, many years since we've been able to say that. So I think psychologically, in terms of morale, we're a country that loves football. I think it gives people a real boost. And, you know, separately to that, but in a way just as importantly, while we all want to see the men's team get to the World Cup soon as well, the fact that it is the women's team that has got us there, in terms of the boost that gives to not just women's football, but to women's sport generally, I also think is fantastic.
So 20 years ago, I think women's football wasn't taken very seriously anywhere in Europe particularly. Scotland's been a little bit further behind the likes of England and Italy and Spain, but it's certainly in the last few years has become, certainly since the Euros, become taken much more seriously by commentators who would once have been actually snide and snippy about the idea of women playing at all.
Let me offer you an observation. Swimming. Scotland's done okay in swimming. We're not the world's best team, but we're pretty good, and we've had great swimmers over the years. I have not heard a single person in Scotland, not one, say, well, let's look back at David Wilkie's gold medal performance for Britain when he won the gold medal as a Scot, and let's compare it with Hannah Miley, and let's now laugh at the difference between the two and say, oh, but Wilkie was always bigger, always stronger, always faster. Who's this Hannah Miley? People just don't do that because there isn't the same toxic attitude towards swimming. They accept that she's swimming in a different era, that she's in the women's swim team, and that she is actually someone that's brought great value to Scotland. I've not heard one person, not one person, sneer at Hannah Miley. I've heard thousands of guys sneer at Scottish women's football.
For a whole generation of young girls, to be able to see their heroes playing at a World Cup and what that can do then to build the enthusiasm for football and for other sports as well, I think is really quite special.
One Scottish women's club that has campaigned to highlight the importance of visible role models in the game is Glasgow City FC.
It's one of the slogans in Glasgow City. If you can't see other successful women footballers, how can you be a successful women footballer? If you have nothing to see that represents and reflects you, in other words, you've never been to a game that's a women's game, or you've never been asked to join a club, or you've never had it at school and gym, or for whatever daft legal reason your local education system won't allow it to happen, how can you ever be a footballer if you can't be what you can't see?
There were no role models. There was nothing that they could look at and say, that could be me. And that's the spirit of what that campaign and slogan tapped into. And you know, they achieved so much by that. I think they got a lot of publicity around it, and it's absolutely true. Now girls can put a poster of Erin Cuthbert or Kim Little or Gemma Fay on their walls and know that it could be them.
Since their inception in 1998, Glasgow City has become the dominant force in the Scottish club game.
Glasgow City Football Club has been hugely important in pioneering the women's sport, and it was basically built on the passion of two women, Laura Montgomery and Carol Ann Stewart, who put their lives, invested their lives and time to build that up.
Laura and Cass are incredible. To have created their own club 20 years ago and to see the success that they've reaped through on is amazing.
11 players in the current Scotland squad play for, or have played for, Glasgow City at some point. In June 2018, that Scotland squad faced their second group game against Belarus. It should have been an easy tie for the Scots, but that's not how the game unfolded.
And Scotland could do with a bright start to get this crowd right behind them. And it's underway.
There might be this misconception because of the way in which women's football previously was, that if you would have maybe the top two seeds and below that it's really hammer everybody up. It's not like that. If you play against a team like Scotland play with fast wingers, they want to play an attractive, expansive, open game, and you sit in, then you just frustrate them. And I think that's been a learning curve for the team throughout. How do we win against teams that do that? That's every kind of manager's challenge, is how do I beat a team that there's no space?
Here come Belarus, it's Shupo, but she can't really link up with Olkovic, but she's managed to get it back to her. Eventually, and Olkovic has found the net! Their first effort on goal, and Leah Alexander was found wanting. A nothing shot really from Olkovic. It back and then prods it forward for Erin Cuthbert, just on the right hand side of the box. Good pace from Cuthbert. Can she find a teammate? Oh, somehow ended up in the back of the net from Erin Cuthbert. And Scotland do have the equaliser. Perhaps she's gone past her marker. It's Kira Brown, great ball. Erin Cuthbert, surely no! Erin Cuthbert with her second goal of the game. There goes the full-time whistle. Scotland have done it. It wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. They had to come from behind. It finished at the Falkirk Stadium. Scotland 2, Belarus 1.
Another comeback for Scotland. The World Cup dream's still alive, thanks to 2 goals from Erin Cuthbert. Despite being the youngest player in the Scotland squad, Erin has become a regular in Shelley Kerr's side.
To represent Scotland is the biggest honour for me. I just remember me being a mascot, and whenever I got to look at the girls and, you know, hold their hand as I walked out, I was nearly crying. I remember, you know, when I was younger, it was such an amazing feeling. My papa was a big influence to me because my dad and my mum used to work full time and they were always very busy, so often I went to nursery where my papa lived, and he would also take me out playing football, and we had a dog called Benji, and I remember I used to head the ball at Benji, and they used to go between his mouth and it used to come back like a header, so we almost played headers between each other. It was really cute. I was actually on a school trip, and I think it was to Culleton Castle, and I was kicking the ball about, and
one of the parent helpers told me to come along to the football. So it was a local boys club at the time, and I went home and I begged my dad. I was like, please, can we go, please, please, please. It was only about 2 minutes away from my house, so he was like, okay, fine. And I went, and I was like, everybody just had a second glance, like, oh my, what is going on? It's a girl here. And I was like running rings around him. I don't even know how that happened. I think at that point I kind of was part of a generation where slowly it was starting to become possible to make it a career. And I think that I seen a couple of FA Cup finals on BBC, and that, you know, led me to believe that I could see it and that I could be it.
Erin moved to Chelsea from Glasgow City 2 years ago. Since then, she's scored in the Champions League.
Nice little clip into England. Cuthbert, a brilliant goal!
She's being touted as a future great. She's even presented Can You Kick It on CBBC.
Erin's just been named in the WSL Team of the Year. She's had an incredible season. We need her to take that confidence, and she will, because she doesn't look like she struggles for confidence, into the World Cup. She's going to be such an important player for us.
She's got that that youthful zest about her, where actually everything's fantastic, the world's great, and she just plays like she's on the park.
I'm now playing with world-class players and training every day full-time, so it makes a really, really big difference. And I think my game, tactically, technically, you know, even mentally and physically, has went up another level training here.
Oh, look at that, Erin Cuthbert, incredible.
Going into the World Cup, I think this is the fittest I've ever felt. I think him has now got me to a level that I can sustain 90 minutes for 3 games a week now, and that's what I've been doing over the season. So I've really, really enjoyed it, and I feel like I'm at my sharpest that I've ever been.
With Erin at the top of her game, Scotland headed to Poland. To keep qualification on track, they needed to take all 3 points against the lower-ranked side. But once again, Scotland found themselves in a difficult situation.
Scotland are giving it away from the restart. Here come Poland down the right-hand side. Ball into the penalty area. It's beaten Lee Alexander. And it's a dreadful start for Scotland.
You know, you kind of have thoughts mid-game, you know, have we blown it? Is that our World Cup dream over, even though it was early on?
But just encouragement for the Poles. The ball's played into the penalty area. A disastrous defending. And Scotland fall 2 goals behind.
I was injured that game. I was in the crowd and I was watching it, and it was just, when we were losing 2-0, I just felt like our dreams were slipping away, and it was, I think I maybe had a tear in my eye actually, because I was like, oh, we're not going to do it, but we deserve to, because we were all over them.
Scotland now 2 goals down with just over 20 minutes remaining in a match they must win. Ahead of them, one of the biggest challenges of the campaign.
There's something about in that moment we can see that second goal where I just didn't feel like we were done. I felt we were in control of the game. And I just knew. I just had this feeling that we had 50 minutes and we had to just give everything, and just trying to get everyone together and say we have to give everything. We have to try. Like, we need to do it and we can do it.
We're losing 2-0 with 12 minutes to go, and we showed real character, again resilience, but talent as well, I may add.
Kim Little, it will be to deliver it towards the front post. It might go all the way, and it has done. Scotland have one back. To Rachel Crossy, she tries a long ball. It's a great ball for Lisa Evans. Can she pick out a player at the back post? There's Arnott. This is Jane Ross with a chance, and a goal for Jane Ross, and an equaliser for Scotland.
You know, the passion throughout the whole team was there.
Here's Lisa Evans inside the penalty area. Is this the one? Is this the one? Yes, it is! Lisa Evans has surely won it for Scotland with a minute to go.
And when we scored that final goal, when Lisa ran down the line and put it in the net, it was just, I've never celebrated so much in my life, anything. To win 3-2 with 12 minutes to go, 2-0 down, was unbelievable, and that really kept her. I was crying after that because our dreams were still alive.
I think it just really brought the team together to be like, wait a minute, this could be our chance. This could be it. This result could really be what swings the last couple of games in our favour and gives us that extra edge.
The strength and determination we showed as a group to, get 2 goals for the draw, and then Lisa Evans popping up, going down that left wing to get the winner was just an unbelievable feeling. That kind of kept the whole campaign alive.
For me, that was a kind of defining moment. There was low moments in the game, but we actually finished on a high, and it really put us in a great position to kind of finish off the last couple of games in the campaign.
There goes the full-time whistle.
That's the game that qualified them for the World Cup, without a shadow of a doubt. That game right there.
The victory against Poland galvanised the Scotland team and gave them belief that they could make it all the way to the World Cup. For one of the goal scorers in that remarkable comeback, Kim Little, the result was never in doubt.
In all the games, we always had a feeling that we were going to win, which is maybe quite hard to describe, but although they felt like tough moments within the games, there always felt like there was going to be a possibility or us coming back because of who we have in the team and the belief that we have in the feeling that, this time is, our time to go to the World Cup. I grew up 30 miles north of Aberdeen, so yeah, quite kind of rural setting, but I was very lucky as in we had a local team called Buchan Girls, which I played for from the age of 10 in a girls team, and played for my school where lots of my friends played, and we all played for both the school and the local team. And I think when I speak to some of the other girls in the team about their kind of where they played and if they played for school, I think I was very lucky in the sense that, yeah, just volunteers, teachers, family, like parents were very sort of influential and spent a lot of time in creating a local team and then giving their time at the school as well. So I kind of had a really, a lot of football from quite a young age.
Chance now for Arsenal, and it's one that's been brilliantly taken. A fantastic goal by Kim Little.
I signed for Arsenal when I was 17, and for the first 6 months I actually flew down to games from Aberdeen. Didn't train with the team, and then I moved down to London in the summer of that year to start uni and then start my semi-professional career at Arsenal.
Kim is one of Scotland's most celebrated players. She was the first ever recipient of the PFA Women's Players Player of the Year award, and she was named BBC Women's Footballer of the Year in 2016.
I was in America at the time, and I remember they came and presented me the award, which I didn't know about. I think it was at training in the morning, and I kind of am quite uncomfortable in situations where I'm centre of attention and getting filmed or watched or being given something. So yeah, I kind of took it all in, and again, just, very nice to be recognised.
Kim was to play a pivotal role in one of the most important qualifiers of the campaign, at home to top-ranked Switzerland. Having lost only one qualifier so far against the Swiss, if Scotland won by 2 clear goals, it would put them in a commanding position at the top of the group.
The whole country was talking about we needed to beat Switzerland by 2 clear goals. Everyone. And our focus was solely on winning that game, no by a margin, a certain margin. We had never played a team that were higher ranked when it mattered and beat them. And the whole chat to our group of players was that we felt confident and we felt this was our time to go and prove that we can compete against teams that are higher ranked. So that game was huge for us. It was also huge from another respect off the pitch. It was a record crowd that we produced that night.
And there we are underway, and it's early played forward down the Scots left.
But it was the early stages of the game. Being at home, we wanted to get the home crowd behind us early and put a lot of pressure on them. We had to win the game, so we went for it.
Short ball, that's not a good clearance. Kim Little picks up on the edge of the penalty area, trying to work the room. Here's Erin Cuthbert on the edge of the penalty area. Oh, Erin Cuthbert, what a start for Scotland! one of the 2 goals they need, and it's come inside the opening 2 minutes.
Just incredible, and I just started celebrating again, didn't know what to do, but Kim scored again in 10 minutes.
Kim Little gets it onto the right foot, plays it short for Evans, gets it back to Kim Little inside the penalty, twisting and turning, gets the shot away, it's taken a deflection, and Scotland are 2 up, would you believe? 5 minutes in, and Kim Little has pushed Scotland further ahead. They are on course, as it stands, to go top of Group 2.
It was crazy. It was one of them games you couldn't believe quite what was happening.
Scotland have to maintain this scoreline to stay top of the group, but Switzerland aren't giving up the fight.
Switzerland have to respond, and here they come down the left-hand side. It's Dickenman, their captain, trying to inspire them. Here they come on the left. This looks dangerous. Can Scotland defend it? Shorts comes in, and Dickenman has pulled one back for Switzerland.
I'll never forget young, 18, 19-year-old Erin Cuthbert trying to rally up the crowd, and that for me was a moment that you never really see that sort of behaviour or character, and it was incredible, and that definitely riled the crowd up, and it led us on to win that game.
The referee has brought play to a close. It's cruel in Scotland. They couldn't win by the 2 clear goals. They knew they need to move top of the group. And so best case scenario now for the Scots is a playoff.
Despite the victory, the celebrations were muted, but Shelley Kerr remained optimistic.
It wasn't by the 2 clear goals that everyone was talking about for the qualification to be in our hands. But it was a massive achievement for us on and off the pitch. And I genuinely, at the final whistle, believed at that point that we would qualify to go to the World Cup finals in France.
You could see the atmosphere that was there. There's no doubt the team got a lift.
The crowds at women's football games are increasing across the globe, especially in Europe. Earlier this year, in Italy, Fiorentina played rivals Juventus in front of over 39,000 fans. Lana Cleland, originally from Perth, played in that game for her club side, Fiorentina.
The first feeling that I had was we always walk out onto the pitch before we do our warm-up, and there was already people in the stadium, hundreds. I think from there it became a reality that this is going to be a massive turnout today. When you go out for your warm-up, it was crazy, it was just noise. So usually there already is noise, but in that sort of stadium it was just at another level. For women's football in Italy it was massive, just to put it out there that we can attract crowds, and that the game has come forward so much in the last 4 or 5 years. It's going in the right place, so we just need to continue on this road. I remember going to primary school every day, and when it was playtime I used to go out and try and beat all the boys on the playground. I think that's where I first thought I really, really do love this game. And from there on I just went to join the local boys team, and the love for the game just grew every single day. My mum and dad were there from a very, very young age, driving me to Glasgow nearly every night and back again. So they were massive in helping me get to where I am. I was offered the second half of a season at an Italian club. My first thoughts were unsure. I wasn't aware of the Italian game, but I knew that it would be a different style of football that maybe could improve me as a player, so jumped at the chance of it. The differences from Scotland to Italy are massive. I had a 9-to-5 job in Scotland, and I had to work my training regimes around obviously having a job. So from going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning to then having to go to training at night and maybe not getting in until 10, 11 at night, and then having to start all over again. The lifestyle in Italy is obviously professional. Being able to relax and recover well before and after training is massive. If I was to tell a 10-year-old Lana that she's currently a professional football player playing out in Italy, I think she'd be very proud and in awe.
That 10-year-old Lana would never have expected to have been on the brink of reaching a World Cup finals. But the dream of Scotland qualifying hung in the balance as they headed to Albania for their final group game. Scotland needed to win, to qualify, They also needed Poland to take points from Switzerland in a match taking place at exactly the same time.
The 4th of September 2018 in Albania.
We obviously knew that we needed Switzerland to draw against Poland, so that was kind of always in the back of our heads, but our focus was definitely mainly on that game and just getting the win.
For the first time, I didn't care about how we played. I told the players, win the game, get us over the line, and we'll see where it takes us.
Here's a promising position. It's Lisa Evans' ball into the box, cleared away, but only as far as Jane Ross. Ross back out now to Lisa Evans. Ball to the back post. Lizzie Arnott's there. Might fall for a Scotland player. Ball for Kim Little, who volleys Scotland into the lead. Beautiful strike from Kim Little. And Scotland have just the start they wanted. Inside 9 minutes, it's Albania 0, Scotland 1.
We were comfortable in the game. We scored early. We should have scored 3 or 4, and then the inevitable happens.
Here they come once more. We've got 20 seconds of the 45 still to play. Out on the left-hand side is Doci. Into the penalty area she goes for goal, and it's a shock equaliser for Albania.
Albania scoring the game.
And from absolutely nothing, Albania right back in this.
I'm shocked that it's going to be 1-1 at half-time because these two teams are miles apart. When everything's on the line, and all of a sudden, you know, this team who you've beaten at home quite convincingly, you can't score a goal. I mean that's that's a bit of a stressful situation.
Kim Little gets the pass back to Erin Cuthbert, slides it out to Emma Mitchell, might try the shot from the angle. Emma Mitchell off the post, so unlucky Scotland. Erin Cuthbert spins, then takes the shot and knocked behind. Once more by Rick Seppi in the Albania goal. Great play again by Erin Cuthbert.
But I was watching it and I was thinking, come on, like, no, this is not part of the, you know, they've done their bit for you. Like, they're doing, Switzerland, Poland are doing their bit. Come on, let's put this to bed.
I was never in fear at all of us not winning that game. I knew we had enough to win it.
Caroline Weir prepares to take the free kick for Scotland about 35 yards from goal. Kim Little moves away. Caroline Weir with the left foot delivers it towards the edge of the 6-yard box, knocked across goal. Jane Ross with a header! Scotland back in front, it was coming, and it's come, and it's Jane Ross. It is Albania 1, Scotland 2.
We had full concentration and focus on our own game until the last 10 minutes. We had some players that were in the stand. We had our kit man, Paul Brownlee, telling us every single minute what was happening in the other game.
I was on the bench at the time, and we were trying to figure out the scores from the Poland and Switzerland game.
I got the eventual shout, 4 minutes added time in the Poland-Switzerland game. It's another minute, and so on and so on. And I could feel everyone. I could feel people in the stand getting excited, and then the players were starting to look across at the bench. And
I looked over to the bench and every single person was off their seats, like praying and like on their hands and knees, like just like hoping.
I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it, but I kind of thought, okay, we're on to something here. Maybe they have slipped up, or maybe they have drawn, and we were heading to the World Cup. And then as soon as I've literally got goosebumps everywhere.
Then I got the wire that the game was finished over in Poland, and I'd finished a draw.
That had the ball in the corner, and I just remember thinking, like, girls, like, if we keep the score like this, like, we've qualified.
You know, there was one moment, Caroline Weir, we had the ball in the corner and she's put the ball into the box, and I was thinking at that moment in time, I'm going to kill you, Caroline. Just keep a hold of the ball. We eventually won the ball back, got it into the corner, and the final whistle went.
Scotland, unbelievably, have qualified automatically for the World Cup for the very first time.
It's just an unbelievable feeling.
No need for a playoff. These players have done it. They deserve it. They have won 7 out of their 8 qualifying matches.
It was an indescribable moment. I don't think I'll ever forget it.
Everyone ran onto the pitch and you knew there and then that that was it, we'd qualified.
Just to know that we'd actually done it was just a great feeling and probably my proudest achievement as a footballer today. And yeah, to do it in that squad, it's such a great squad to be a part of with the coaching staff as well. It was one of the best days and something I'll look back with very fond memories on.
I just wanted the players to celebrate and enjoy it because, you know, we'd qualified automatically, not through any other route. And it was a real special moment for everybody involved.
I think it's huge, not just for women's football, but for Scottish football. I think it's great to have a national team doing well and to be performing on the big stage. I think it's been a while since a national team's done that. So. Yeah, it'd be great if the whole country can kind of get behind us.
As a footballer, you always dream of going to a World Cup, and you know, being Scottish, at least when I was growing up, I don't remember us, the men's team or women's team, ever being in a World Cup to kind of enjoy a summer of football.
At the World Cup finals in France, Scotland will take on England, Japan and Argentina.
The game for me that I think we have to win, of course, is the Argentina game. I think they're ranked 37th in the world. They're a team we're very capable of beating.
Like any South American team, they can be unpredictable, and that's the thing. The results recently haven't been fantastic. However, on the big stage, they could have a flash of brilliance.
Japan are former winners, former runners-up. They're an incredibly technical team.
They have a style which has not come across often across here, this interchanging style.
They'll make it very difficult for us. Don't really know what else to say because Japan are very good, but bring on.
The England game's so exciting. I think you know, it's easy to get caught up in all the hype of it, but at the same time we've got 3 equally weighted games, you know, in the group, so we know that by the first game, whatever happens, the group isn't over. So we're looking forward to it, but at the same time we've got one eye on other games as well. But of course, a game against Scotland, England's going to attract a lot of attention.
It's quite weird because we play with like half the England girls at Man City, so we know them all and we know what they're about. So yeah, we know they're a top team and it'll be a tough one, but you know, we'll be up for it.
How Scotland does overall in terms of international rankings, performance at these major competitions, I think we have to see that in the round. But that's not to say we shouldn't be absolutely determined to beat England in the opening match of the World Cup.
Will I be nervous? A little. But I think the feeling that I'll have is I'll be filled with pride, being at the helm of my country and leading them out in their first game in the World Cup finals.
As the women's national team prepares to take to the world stage for the first time in their history, the game in Scotland is stepping into the spotlight. Attitudes towards women's football have been changing, and a generation of young girls are being inspired to emulate the success of their heroes.
Success is measured on how many people imaginations do we capture? What is the feeling towards women's football in this country? How many more sponsors do we get into the game? How many more strategic partnerships do we create? How many more opportunities do we afford younger teams to play? What support can we give to our clubs?
We need to be very serious about investing in the development of the women's game just as much as we do in the development of the men's game, and that involves working with young girls in schools. It involves making sure there's the right support structures, the right development opportunities.
I believe that young girls in our local areas all have role models now, and I get little messages on Instagram and I get people asking me to come down and visit and see their training and stuff, so it's really special, and to know that you actually have that impact is crazy because I know that they had that impact on me, so I take that with great importance, and I really enjoy it.
Attitudes to women have changed, the role of women have changed, more women working themselves and earning their own income, and as a consequence of that, young girls have grown up seeing different versions of what a mother is, different versions of what a father is. And as a consequence of that, I think a lot of gender difference is beginning to erode, and erode for the better. And if this World Cup can give us anything, it can give us real hope that we can build a women's football culture in Scotland that will resonate for decades to come.
I'll do everything I can to ensure that the team and myself and the rest of the staff are prepared so that we can have a good tournament. And I will be one extremely proud coach on June the 9th when we go out and we start our World Cup against England.
Morning, girls. Just wishing you all the best for the World Cup campaign. Make sure you kick butt and kick the ball as well.
I wish you all the very best of luck. Go on, Scotland.
You're going to win it, aren't you? Seriously, you better, or you're letting us down.
You will do Scotland proud.
It's time to raise your head above the parakeet and throw down the omelette.
You're going to do fantastic. Good luck and just go for it.
All the very best, and I look forward to seeing the results. Cheers.
Go and kill it. You'll be amazing. Thank you for representing us.
Go there and win it. If you can't win it, at least beat the English.
And if you need a coach, mine now. Aizen's your woman.
You're going to do fantastic out there. We'll be with you every step of the way.
Me and the rest of Team Muirhead are already super proud of you. Just go out and smash it.
Have a fantastic tournament. Just go as far as you possibly can.
All the very best in the World Cup. Good luck.
We just want to wish you the best of luck from myself and the whole Outlander cast.
On behalf of everyone at the Scottish Women's Hockey Team, we'd like to wish the Scottish Women's Football Team all the best at the World Cup this summer. Go smash it.
Have a great time when you're over there. Don't go too raj, because I can't make that like. Just go out there and play the football. That's what I always say.
I want to say on behalf of the country, really, we're behind you. And there's only one thing left to say, really, to quote one great footballer, come on the birds.
Scotland! Go Scotland!